This fresh, clean water is flowing in a remote African village thanks to the U.S. military.
From a civil engineer's perspective, this is a great operation for us because I like the humanitarian aspect of it. The good news is we haven't done any fighting, and we hope to keep it that way.
Commander Paul Vandenberg is part of the Seabees, the U.S. Navy's engineering corps. Today, he is based at Camp Lemonier in the tiny African nation of Djibouti, headquarters of the Combined Joint Task Force Horn of Africa.
The work that our troops are doing, building schools and repairing schools and drilling water wells in some very drought areas, it really gives you a good feeling. And ultimately, that's the way I think we're going to really change this part of the world.
Well, show you what you're looking at. To the north, obviously, the airport. Sometimes we got to park our bigger airplanes over there. That's one of our C-17s, as you can see. To the west, hillside, town of Bulbala.
The U.S. Central Command has operated the Combined Joint Task Force Horn of Africa, also known as CJTF-HOA, since 2002. Its stated mission is, quote, to prevent conflict, promote regional stability, and protect coalition interests in East Africa and Yemen through humanitarian assistance. Stationed at America's largest military base in Africa, troops here come from nearly a dozen different countries and all branches of the U.S. military, including the U.S. Coast Guard. Task force members are building health clinics, providing medical and veterinary care, renovating schools like this one in Tajora, Djibouti, and providing fresh water sources.
What we're doing is getting a grid on the well, is making sure we know exactly where it is on the grid.
The Army National Guard's 1132nd well-digging crew from Mooresville, North Carolina, believes this work is fully part of the global war on terror. Today, the crew is surveying a water well for rehabilitation, a well located along an ancient camel trail in the middle of a desert oasis.
East 041 degrees.
What we're doing here, we're actually doing more of a preemptive strike.
This is the group's acting First Sergeant, William Robert Brown.
The terrorist organizations go into countries like this, and they'll go in and promise these people money so that they can use their children or their younger men and younger women to do terrorist acts.
When we left Djibouti, we came down through Dikil, and we passed Djibouti, and then right here is where we took a left turn at the tires on the hill and went out into the desert.
Just by virtue of being here and training these militaries in the Horn of Africa, we see a limited presence of terrorist threats, insurgents. Because we're here, they are not here. So indirectly, yes, America is a safer place by virtue of us being here and the insurgents not.
U.S. Army Major John Hill is in charge of America's military-to-military training across the Horn of Africa. Eastern Africa has long been considered a breeding ground for terrorists and terror activities. The FBI first placed Osama bin Laden on its top 10 most wanted list after the 1998 U.S. Embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania. Major Hill has served in Iraq and plans to return. He and his men at the Combined Joint Task Force trained the Ethiopian troops which recently attacked extremist groups in Somalia. But he is quick to add that America's efforts to undermine terrorist organizations in the Horn of Africa go far beyond military strikes. Major Hill says what they're doing in Djibouti represents the future of the U.S. military.
We are still waging war. I feel this is a different mission. It's a great mission. It's unlike any other you'll see. This really is the forefront of where we should be in the future in Iraq and Afghanistan.
There are skeptics. Some worry this focus on so-called soft security issues like schools and water wells will distract from the military's primary fighting mission. Others say the military is ill-suited for long-term development projects. They say civilian services are best delivered by civilians, that using the military for these projects is confusing to the people being served, and that the money and resources would be better spent by the Peace Corps, the State Department, or the United Nations. But even America's diplomatic representatives in Djibouti are eager to give proper credit to the military's role in the region.
The military has always had a civil affairs unit. And rather than have them roaming around the country nilly-willy, they help him build health centers. They help him build schools.
Janet Schulman is the country director for the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID, in Djibouti. Today, she's inspecting a rural health clinic built with USAID assistance.
They're giving hope to children who otherwise may never have hope and may be stuck in certain religious schools that will train them to become fanatics.
This passage for downtown right here. You got the store, basketball courts over there.
Back at Camp Lemonier, the sense that these troops are on a new kind of mission seems to have sunk deep into the camp culture. Troops are even volunteering their spare time to help locals better their lives and to improve Djiboutian perceptions of America.
These kids, they don't know what a family life really is like, so we try and provide that by being the bigger brother or the bigger sister.
Navy RP-3 Nathaniel Young of Guam is part of Camp Lemonier's chaplain corps. He previously served on board the USS Comstock in the Iraq War. The camp's chaplain corps has adopted 2 local orphanages and raised thousands of dollars to renovate dilapidated buildings. Every week, van loads of American troops arrive to play basketball and soccer with these boys.
If you're given an opportunity to stay at base or go do something that matters and gives meaning to your day, why not go and do something that means something?
Since the attacks in Iraq, the people here had a negative image of Americans. But since their arrival, we have seen the good side of Americans.
Wandering around Djibouti City's downtown and sprawling marketplace, we found Kennedy Mohammed Ali, a journalist from Djibouti's government-owned newspaper, The Nation.
Since the American forces arrived in Djibouti, there has been a lot of progress. Progress on the level of national education because they have contributed to the construction of schools. Progress in terms of roads, since they've rehabilitated the roads. I can sincerely say that the American president has brought considerable progress to Djibouti.
For all the good being done here by the Horn of Africa Task Force, there are only 1,700 troops in Djibouti, and the estimated $49 million it will cost to run the task force in 2007 is a tiny drop in the Defense Department's $462 billion budget. But the scope of this effort may be about to change.